I've taken you out with me today. I'm going on a little walk before I go to the coffee shop and start writing. It's the end of December as I film this. You probably won't see it until the new year. It's the end of December and look what I'm wearing. That's the beautiful New Orleans winter for you. If you don't know who I am, my name is Daphne. I am a writer here in New Orleans. I'm an artist, I'm an actress, I'm all those fun things. And I love to talk about books and writing. And today I am taking you writing with me while I think about my goals for the new year for 2026 and my reading goals, my writing goals, my artistic life goals, all that fun stuff. So why don't you come with me? We'll have a good time. Today I took myself to a coffee shop because I love to write around other people. The ambient conversations, the espresso machine whirring, and the gamble of the playlist that the barista chose becomes a comforting white noise as I fall into my story. And I do tend to fall pretty deep. Writing is something sacred to me. I commune with my characters as I write down their stories, and for the past 4 years, I've been communing with Oliver, the protagonist of my first novel, to bring his world of rock and roll and glamour and queer love and self-acceptance to life. My writing feels more like a ritual than a routine. I am the vessel and creator. I don't have a set routine, but I find myself writing multiple times a week. I just can't stay away from my stories. All right, come enjoy the bayou with me. Isn't it? You can't see my hand. Isn't it so gorgeous? I love New Orleans. 2025 was a really transformative year for me. It was the year that I feel like I finally started taking control over my own creative career. And so 2026, I want it to be an expansion on that. I want to truly feel everything. I want to walk into a bar on a hot summer night with a jazz band playing and feel the humidity in the air and the smell of alcohol and sweat. The music just hitting into my eardrums and the chatter of the people yelling at each other in order to be heard. I want it all to coalesce into one giant present moment, because often I find myself forgetting to embrace that. I'm always so focused on the future and what's ahead and getting things done and checking things off my list that falls to the wayside for me. I want 2026 to be the year of art and pleasure and hedonism. It's the year that I fall headfirst into my art. It's the year that I fall headfirst into life. All right, I'm back. It's a new day, and I'm going to go through my January TBR with you. Now, my TBR I would consider to be quite optimistic because I am a slow reader. When I read a book, I really try to take the time to figure out what the author is actually trying to say and whether or not they do it successfully. I find it very fun to analyze the themes of the book, the character motivations, the literary devices they're using, the style of prose that they've gone for, and how it supports, helps, or hurts the story itself. All things like that. I find my cats come to visit me. I tried to close the door, but he got in through the crack. Anyway, when I read a book, I really like to sit down and analyze that, and it takes quite a while. I am who I am, and I'm not about to sacrifice my reading style and what I like to get out of reading in order to start meeting some arbitrary numbers. But all of that is to say, my TBR for January is quite optimistic. I've got, hold them up, 4 whole books. 4 whole books that I want to read in January, and we'll see if I get through them. Some months I manage to read a crazy amount of books, and then other months I'm working on 1 book for an entire month. It really just depends on what the book is, how much free time I have to read, and then how long it takes me to actually get through it and study everything. The first book I've picked out is The Damned and the Beautiful by Paula S. Fass. This is a nonfiction. It is a historical and sociological account of the youth culture in 1920s America. I always like to have at least one nonfiction in my rotation that I'm reading. I tend to read 2 or 3 books all at the same time, and I like to have at least one nonfiction. So this is going to be my nonfiction for the month of January. It is quite a dense book, but I'm very excited for it. So, ooh, hold on. Someone already annotated this. That's so exciting. I love when I buy a used book and there's already annotations in it. It's so much fun to see what people thought worth underlining or writing about and things like that. That's a very delightful surprise because I hadn't cracked it open yet. I really find historical accounts of American youth fascinating. You know, obviously I have a fascination with the American youth of the 60s and 70s and the way that their activism and longing for a more just world turned into disillusionment. You see that in the transition of the more folksy rock music that you have in the 60s, and then right at the start of the 70s, 71, you started seeing glam rock pop up. And so I find that fascinating. So along with the 60s and 70s, I've also always had a fascination with the 20s. And so this is my opportunity to learn more about that decade because I've only ever really gotten it from fictional accounts. So reading something of a nonfiction and getting a more historical look at it will be very interesting. The second book on my TBR is not a book, it's a play. Angels in America by Tony Kushner. I love reading plays, and I think I might even make a video later about why I believe that people should be adding plays to their reading lists and reading more plays. But this one, I genuinely can't believe it's taken me this long to read Angels in America. I don't know how that happened, but it happened. This is gonna be the very first thing that I read in the new year is Angels in America by Tony Kushner. And I got the version that has some additional information in the back, some historical information about all the different times that this play has been put on and things like that. So I'm very excited to finally crack open Angels in America. The next one. I feel very silly reading this. Can you see that? Let's see. Valley of the Dolls. This probably is not going to warrant a deep reading from me. This one I'm probably going to get through pretty fast. I love having one trashy book on my rotation whenever I can. This is like the original trashy novel. It's almost like the Gossip Girl of the 1940s, which I love Gossip Girl. But it's these young women who live in New York City in the 40s and they get into shit. And that sounds right up my alley. This is called The Fan Club by Irving Wallace. I couldn't tell you a thing about this. I found this on a shelf at the thrift store. It didn't come with its dust jacket. There is no synopsis. There's no nothing. All there are at the very front is a quote by Marilyn Monroe, Dr. Samuel Johnson, and Henry David Thoreau. That is the only hint that I have as to what this book is about. And I haven't looked it up. I've decided I want to go in blind. So call this our mystery book, The Fan Club by Irving Wallace. So to end off my vlog, just a quick look-see on my January TBR, and then hopefully I can get through a good chunk of these, and then if not, it just rolls over into the February TBR. That's how I operate around here. I wish I could say actually, I don't wish I could say that I had another system. I quite like my system. I think that, I don't know, some people can approach reading almost as if it's achievements to check off the list, and I don't see it like that. Reading is meant to entertain, reading is meant to enlighten, it's meant to educate, and half the fun of it is sitting with it for a while and digesting it and discovering new things about it. I don't think you need to read a lot. I think that you need to read deeper. I think that a lot of people would benefit if instead of trying to read as many books as possible, instead they tried to read deeper. Maybe you agree with me, maybe you don't. If you don't, tell me why, because I'm very curious to know, because I've always held the belief that it's better to take longer with a book if you're really studying it, and even go back to a book. There's a few books that I've read over and over again and find something new every time. Alright, so how was that for my first attempt at a vlog? I suppose we'll see. I am very new to this, and I will admit that taking a bulky camera into public is very intimidating, so thank you for watching and for hanging out. I'm very excited for the start of the new year. I know that by the time you're watching this, it will be the new year, it will be 2026, but I am recording this in the very final days of 2025, and I hope we have a very wild and creative year. And now that I'm on here, I'll be sharing mine with you, and I hope you share yours with me. Well, I want us to meet back up at the end of this year, and I want us to be thinking of each other all year and about our plans and sending each other good energy. And then I want us to tell each other at the end of the year everything that came true and all the good things that happened to us and all the crazy things that happened to us. That's what I want. So tell me in the comments what your plans are for this year, what your resolutions are, and what you're dreaming about. And what creative project do you want to complete this year? What creative project do you want to complete this year? That's my question to you. Alright, thank you for watching, and if you want to hang out, I am on TikTok and Instagram and Substack. Obviously, I'm here. So please subscribe if you like this video, if you like art and books and music and rock and roll and all that fun stuff. Alright, thank y'all for watching.